you didn't quite clearly answer the last the question that was asked about your comment about MySQL. Could you
I did.
well, not to my mind. I think a lot of people here as well maybe didn't quite understand what you actually did say. Would you be kind enough to repeat what you said so that we understand
To
exactly
repeat
you
what I said, I can't. I don't remember it well
then
enough. I can answer the. I can talk about the same thing a second time.
if you could clarify that, would be nice.
Clarify. Sorry, I can't clarify anything unless I know what it is to clarify. I answered the issue. I responded to the accusations. I answered the questions. Now I can try to remember those questions and answer them again. That I can try to do. Or if there's a specific other question, I can try to answer that. To ask me to go clarify whatever you consider unclear, I'd have to read your mind. I can't do that.
Well, then can I ask the question then?
Go.
All right.
So of course, that's what you're
please,
doing, right?
Yeah. Can you please explain what you said at the in the European Union statement about the fact that dual licensing or parallel licensing is acceptable from your perspective?
Oh, why do I think parallel licensing is acceptable? The reason is parallel licensing means you release something under a copyleft license to everyone, and then you sell to particular companies permission to use it to use the same code in other ways. So, is this ethically acceptable or not? The way I came to the conclusion that it is by comparing it with a different scenario where you release the program under the X11 license to everybody. And that means anybody can get the code and put it into proprietary programs. So in scenario A, you are selling particular companies the permission to put the code into their proprietary programs. In scenario B, you're telling everybody they're allowed to do the same thing. So if letting everybody do it is okay, then I think it's okay to let particular individuals, particular companies do it. You're not letting them do any more than they would be able to do in scenario B. Now, the FSF will never do this because we have another principle of treating everyone alike. It's a different issue, which applies to us. But I won't say it's wrong that a company can't sell things differently to different people. I don't think that principle that you have to treat everyone alike applies to companies, although we follow it. Now, it's clear that the selling exceptions does not treat everybody alike. But in terms of freedom for the end users, it's no worse than releasing under the X11 license. And there are times when even I would release something under the X11 license. They're very special cases. For instance, the code to play OGG files. That was originally released under the GPL, but then someone proposed it would be better to release it under the X11 license, and the reason is we wanted to encourage support for OGG formats. We want even those who are making proprietary players, although we think the proprietary players are bad, we want them to support OGG so that we will take away the pressure on people to use the formats that are patented or secret and thus really harmful, like MP3. So because of this, we decided the best thing to do was to release the OGG player software under the X11 license. I'm not the one who actually made the decision, but they talked with me, and my advice was in favor of this decision.
I have to say, I'm actually glad to hear, though, your comment about the FSF not actually following dual licensing. I mean, one of the pieces out of your advocacy of it has been, for years, I mean, almost since the beginning, there's been this suggestion of signing over your rights to the FSF to make sure that your rights are held by some other entity. In essence, killing any concept of dual licensing. So this is more personal choice of view.
I don't call this dual licensing. Dual licensing is what Perl used to do, where they said it's released under the GPL and the artistic license, and everybody can choose one or the other. This is selling exceptions. But yeah, we're not going to do this, and we'll promise not to do this. because we are going to treat everybody in alike, and we are going to defend people's freedom whenever that's possible.
You find no conflict, though, that someone in the future sitting around the FSF, say long past when you're gone, will say, you know, we're not getting in the money we need this year, and you know, Richard used to actually push this, no offense, dual licensing,
But
tomato,
I didn't push
tomato.
it. I've suggested it to certain companies, and I suggested it to them so that they would make programs free which were proprietary.
But you have advocated that by telling them that this is the way they can make money. So the question is,
No, you've got it wrong. You're twisting what I said.
No,
Remember,
you're doing this
I
tomato thing a lot
advocated
with
that
words.
I advocated that they make a change, and the change was to go from proprietary software to free copylefted software plus selling exceptions. What a person advocates has to be compared with what's happening already. I advocated that they make a change for the better. I wouldn't advocate that the FSF make a change, which in our case would be for the worse. But I advocated that they make a change which for the better, and it was for the better because their software was proprietary. And they were either going to continue with proprietary software selling licenses, or because I suggested it, they switched to releasing it as free software under the GPL for everyone and selling licenses to use it in other ways. They were selling licenses before and they were selling licenses after. But because of my suggestion, they made the software available to all of us as free software.
So your advocacy then really is only if something's going proprietary to open source. There is some
I'm not
period
in
of
favor
time.
open source.
Sorry.
And it's not a matter of a particular period of time.
Yeah.
It's a matter of in a situation, is it good or bad?
I feel like I should switch to German because then I'd probably get different words and not probably hit the tomato problem. But
I don't speak German, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wish I did, but
Yeah, and questions in English there too. But here's the question though. So your advocacy then is somebody took some proprietary software. It's okay to dual license it for a while to make it GPL, or for some period of time in period.
I didn't say a period of time. But the point is,
Then really what you're saying, it's fine to dual license any GPL software.
No, I'm saying that I would suggest doing it as a way of getting the software to be GPL'd in the first place. That's when I did suggest it, remember?
Yeah, but, no, just checking here. Just trying to fit this together with, because you also had said right after my question, you had the developers have no rights, it's the end user. But then you said corporations you don't really care about because they're not end users, though the corporation eventually sells to an end user. But okay, since it went through the corporation, it doesn't really matter that
you're distorting what I said. I'm sorry if it wasn't clear, but what you're saying, I say that it depends on certain things, and when you restate it, those things are gone, and you're saying something that's vague and mushy and has nothing to do with the issues I said were important to me.
I think it's more of an issue that you're not really connecting your points all the way across.
Well, you don't think so, but what can I say? I can't satisfy you. Too bad.
How about if it wasn't